quickly write down the steps for simplifying expressions. It's very basic, but it's good to make sure you have it written somewhere so you can remember it. Okay, step 1 is always going to be to distribute. Step 2 is combine like terms. As long as you always do it in that order, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. If you don't do it in that order, if you combine like terms before you distribute, then it's just not going to work out well for you. It's not going to give you an equivalent expression. You're basically changing the value of the expression when you do that. I'm going to box our little steps. Now let's take a look at some examples to see how we can apply these steps to simplifying expressions. Okay. The most common thing that happens that is not correct is people want to subtract that immediately. No, no, no. No, my friends. Remember the order of operations. This is multiplication right here. That's subtraction. And we always multiply before we subtract. And since this is a variable expression and we don't know what n is, we can't combine these and then multiply like we would for order of operations. We have to do something different. We have to use the distributive property. Now here's the deal. When you are distributing, we're going to ignore this right here. This is what we're going to focus on. Okay, so just ignore that 7 initially. Just distribute what needs to be distributed, and then we'll take a look at those terms. Now, the most common error that I see when people are simplifying algebraic expressions is the signs. You guys make mistakes on the positive and negatives all the time. And one of the biggest culprits is people forget to distribute the negative with the 5. Remember how we talked about we're not considering that really subtraction anymore, we're more of considering that like a negative 5. Okay? So when you distribute, you also have to distribute the sign in front of it. So we're going to distribute both the negative 5 to both the negative 6 and the negative 8n. So this will be negative 5 times negative 6 is a positive 30. Negative 5 times negative 8n is a positive 40n. Now we can't forget about that 7. You know, we kind of abandoned it for a minute to distribute, and we need to pull it down. Now this is a positive 30, so I'm going to put a plus sign in front of it. Does that make sense so far? Now we'll just combine our like terms. We have 2 constants here. So this will be 37, and we don't have a like term to go with our 40n. So we're just going to leave it like this, and this is as simplified as this expression can get because we don't know the value of n. Okay. Any questions so far? Okay, let's take a look at another example. We have negative 6 times 5 plus 8s minus 2s. So this time, you have something kind of attached onto the end. So that's what we're going to ignore for right now, and we're just going to distribute what's in the parentheses to what's in the parentheses. Okay? Now, again, I'm going to take that negative with it. So it's going to be negative 6 times 5 and negative 6 times 8s. Negative 6 times positive 5 is going to be negative 30. Negative 6 times positive 8s is going to be negative 48s. And then I'm going to bring down this term that was not in parentheses. Now we can combine like terms. There's only one constant. It doesn't have a buddy, so we can just write that down. But these both have an s. These both have the same variables, so this is going to be negative 50s. All right, I'm going to have you guys practice this. All right, try out those two problems. I'll walk around. Let me know if you need me. Did you guys get the same thing? Yes. Oh, okay, I'm going to go ahead and work through these up here too so that you can see. I'm just going to bring down my 5 since it's not a part of the distribution. And I can't forget to distribute the negative 8. So it'll be negative 8 times negative 7z is a positive 56z. And then negative 8 times negative 3 is a positive 24. Then we can combine like terms. So you can write this two ways. You could do 56z plus 29, or you can do 29 plus 56, sorry, not 7. (56z). Okay. Are we good on that one? Yeah. Okay, on this one, I'm going to ignore that last term until I distribute. Negative 5 times positive 2q is negative 10q. Negative 5 times negative 3, positive 15. Then I'm just going to subtract this. Are we good? Yes. Negative 10q plus 9? Yes. Okay. I want to show you two more quick examples of things that you might see on your homework and on things coming up. You need to be able to do these types of problems with decimals. So I'm just going to run through an example of that. Okay. So just do everything like you would if they were whole numbers. But I know that decimals, when you're worrying about the decimals too, it kind of adds another twist to it. Yeah, Trey. I probably won't let you use a calculator on this test. Yeah. Like things that you really need calculators for were like percents. You absolutely need calculators for that. And there will be other units that I'm like, yes, use a calculator, please, like geometry and statistics and probability, things like that. But this, you guys should be able to do decimal operations. Okay, I'm not making them huge. So let's distribute. That's a good question, though. Thank you. Negative 4.9 times x is negative 4.9x. Negative 4.9 times 1 is negative 4.9. I'm going to bring this down. Okay. Now, this doesn't have a like term, so I can leave it alone, but these are like terms. So I'm going to subtract, well, kind of, because this one's positive, this one's a negative, so I'm subtracting them and taking the sign of the bigger number. So let me write this down. And then if I subtract these, it's going to be negative 1.8, right? Good? You can write it like this, or you can write it like this. Just whatever you do, make sure you take that sign with it. Okay, I'm going to show you another type of problem that you might see. And that's when you have two opportunities to distribute in the same problem. Okay. So you're going to distribute here, and you're also going to distribute here. So just ignore the other one while you're distributing to each one. They're completely separate from each other. So this will be negative 8r. And then negative times a negative is a positive, so that's positive 16. Now I can distribute here. Positive 6 times r is a positive 6r. Positive 6 times positive 2 is a positive 12. Now I can go through and combine like terms. So that's going to be negative 2r. And then 28. And that's as far as you can do that one. So you're done. Okay, I have to teach a second step lesson now.